Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd, with my friends over at yarnspirations.com. Today we're going to do a toddler size blanket here. This is using a Bernat blanket stripes, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this. This is also using the moss stitch, which I'll also talk about as well. And for this you'll need a 10mm size N crochet hook. So let's talk a little bit more about this pattern. So the moss stitch is a combination of two different stitches. So you have like the single crochet, chain one, single crochet, and etc. And then in the next row where it was a chain one, it fills it in with single crochet and then jumps over with the chain one and then fills in the next one. So it's kind of filling in space. We see this in a lot of apparel when it comes to designing on particular projects as well. We also do see it in afghans and this particular moss stitch as well. I'm not sure that color pooling works with this particular design, but this is the kind of stitch that works in color pooling, but again I don't think it works in this kind of design. So what we have here is Bernat blanket stripes, and here's an example of that here where the color is long stretches just like you see here. So it starts off with orange and then it will change to purple for a while and then it will change to red and etc. This is a different color. The color that you see here is called razzmatazz. So what you need for this toddler size blanket is 4 of these balls. This is the equivalent ball. Even though it's flat, you may find it in 2 different formats. You could either find it flat like a cake here, or you can find it, this is obviously not the same one because I don't have the same format, but you will find it also in a ball like this. You just have to look for the word Bernat blanket stripes and it's exactly the same yarn. So what you're gonna be noticing here is that the yardage in here and the yardage in the big ones are exactly the same. So you need 4 balls in order to complete this size. So it can either look in this format or be in this format. They're both the large size. This is just compressed to be in a cake, so it's not as squishy as these ones here because it's really been compressed. So it's really kind of a neat concept to do, and you let the yarn, so when it changes color on its own, the yarn pieces are actually sewn and tacked together and then it changes over. So it's an immediate abrupt change, and when you have it on the size of blanket, it's really quite fun. So without further ado, let's grab our crochet hook and let's get you started on this one. So to do the blanket, as you saw, it was going to be chaining of 113, but if you want to change the size of it you can do so, and by changing the size you will change the yarn quantities, and what those quantities are I'm not sure. So that's something that you'll have to decide for yourself, but for what I have it's only 4 balls. So we're gonna start off with the slip knot first to begin, and you'll need a size N as in Nancy crochet hook. It's a 10mm if you're Canadian or using the metric system. So we're gonna start off with a slip knot. So you can either chain 113 to match the exact size, or you can chain in multiples of 16. So what you can just do, let's just do a few multiples and then we'll get started. So either chain 113 or do it in multiples. So just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So that's one chevron. So that's what you're seeing here is just going up and down. So what you have to keep in mind is that when it's stretched out you feel like the afghan's too long, but once it goes in the up and down motion it condenses that in. So that's one chevron. So you just have to keep on chaining in multiples of 16 or do that 113 as I suggested. So we just start over again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And again, if you don't think it's big enough, just do it again. So I'm gonna do it one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I just need more yarn here. 11, and this is 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So once you have your 16, your final on there, you just have to add one more. So it's a multiples of 16 plus 1. So add one more and then this will stay in balance for no matter what size you're gonna make it. So either chain 113 or multiples of 16 and then add 1 at the end. So let's begin to go all the way across. So there's actually a difference of 3 rows. So this is number 1, and then we're gonna get you started on number 2, and then number 3 is the repeat then for everything. So then it's just repeating rows number 3, 3, 3, and all the way to the end. So we're gonna go second chain from the hook. So count it back. So 1 and 2, and in the second chain from the hook I want you to place 2 single crochets into the same chain. So 1 and 2. So the solid, it's gonna be solid on the beginning chain. So the next 5, stitches in a row, or the next 5 chains, are each gonna be 1 single crochet each. So let's count those out. So we're gonna do 1, and we're gonna do 2 and 3, and then we're gonna continue. This is 4, and 5 is the next one. So after you have 5 sitting by themselves, and remember that number because you'll need to know it, the next 2 are gonna be single crochet 2 together. So we're gonna put the next 2 together. So insert into the next chain, wrap and pull through, and then insert into the next chain after that, wrap and pull through, and you have 3 loops on the hook. Pull through all 3 loops. So those 2 just became 1. So the next 2 are also gonna become 2 together. So just insert into the next one, pull through, and then insert into the next one after that, and then pull through, and then pull through all 3 loops. So at the base of your chevrons, where it's the lowest point, there's always gonna be 2 that are put together and 2 that are put together. So now we're gonna go up the hill. So you'll see it happen in just a moment. So the next 5 are gonna be 1 single crochet each. So let's count those out. So we got 1, and you can see the bend is starting to happening. 2 and 3, 4 and 5. So we're now considered at the top of the peak. Okay, so now the next 2 in a row are gonna be 2 single crochets into the same one. So the next one is gonna be 2 single crochets into that one. So 1 and 2, and then the next one after that is going to be 2 single crochets into the same one. So 1 and 2. So now when I pull away, you can kind of see that the shaping is starting to take effect, right? You can see that it comes down, it does that nice bend, and then it's coming up, and you can see we're gonna head on down. So to continue down again, the next 5 in a row are each going to be 1 single crochet. So 1 and 2, 3, and this is 4, and this is 5. So now we're at the bottom of the hill. Okay, so we're at the valley. So the next 2 are gonna be come together. So insert into the next one, pull through, the one after that, insert in, pull through, and then pull through all 3 loops. And do the same again one more time. So again to the next one, pull through. Okay, the one after that, insert, pull through, and then pull through 2. And then when I pull away, you can kind of see that the up and down motion is happening. So now we're gonna go up the hill. So it's gonna be 5 in a row. So just single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you're at the top of the hill now, the top of the peak. So the next 2 in a row are each going to be 2 single crochets. And I want you to continue that same idea going all the way across your chain. So you know what to do at the tops. So the first one had 2 into the single crochet, 2 single crochets into the same one. And then when we go and look at the next one here, the next one will have 2 single crochets in it as well. Okay, and then you head down the hill, so 5 single crochets in a row, and then at the bottom the next 2 come together, and then the next 2 come together. So I want you to do that all the way across so that you have your starting, and then we'll see you back here in just a moment. So we're gonna then just finish up this last section here, and you're gonna be coming in, and the next 2 here together, these are together. So we've come down the hill and now we're at the bottom, and so then the last part ends up in the going in the up motion like it does in the very beginning. So the next 5 in a row are each gonna be 1 single crochet, so you know how to do that. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5 is the next one, and then the very last chain that you have available to you, they're each gonna, it's gonna have 2 single crochets into the same one. So 1 and 2. So now you should be able to look back now and see everything taking place. You should see the up and down motion as you're looking across, and then we're gonna start then row number 2. So let's turn our work and begin row number 2. So let's begin row number 2. We're gonna always start off each row the same way, but we're gonna start in establishing our moss stitch as we go in this time. So we're gonna chain up 1 and we're gonna put 2 single crochets into the very starting, so that allows it to continue to grow up equally on the sides. So 2 singles in the beginning. So then you chain 1 and then you skip 1 stitch and go to the second over and single crochet right into it. So we're now creating the gapping spaces that you need to create the moss stitch. So chain up 1, skip 1 and single crochet into the next. And now this is where you gotta pay attention. So you can see when we're looking at this, we can have the 2 are together here at the base. So to do this, you're gonna chain up 1 and you're skipping 1 and you're going to single crochet the next 2 together right after it. So skip 1 and single crochet the next 2 together. And then immediately single crochet the next 2 together. You're at the bottom of the hill. So just put the next 2 together and then you start heading up the hill. So chain 1 to begin, skip the next one, single crochet in the one after that, chain 1, skip the next one, single crochet in the one after that, and then chain 1, skip 1, and then the next one here is going to be 2 single crochets into the same one. Now when you're looking at it from this perspective, you'll see that there is you can see 2 single crochets are in each of these stitches here. So if you're keeping in alignment, just make sure that you're kind of looking for that as a key. So skip the next one, 2 single crochets in the next. So 1 and 2, and the one directly after that one is gonna be 2 single crochets in it as well. So you're at the top peak of your stitch work. So now you're gonna start moving in the down motion, going in the other, continuing along. So chain up 1 to begin, skip the next one and single crochet in the next one after that. Chain 1, skip the next one and single crochet in after that. And so now we're heading towards the bottom. So chain 1 first, skip the next one and put the next 2 together after that. So skip 1, put the next 2 together. And then put the next 2 together after that. So right at the base, and then start heading back up the hill. So chain up 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1 and single crochet in the next, and then chain 1, skip 1 and then put 2 single crochets into the top one. So 1 and 2. So really when you're thinking about it, that really from the base here to the top one, there should be 2 single crochets that stand by themselves. So 1 and 2. That just helps you be able to give that a visual. And then you continue then. So we just put 2 into the top one on the one side, put 2 single crochets into this next one right beside it, and then continue along. So keep doing that across and I'll see you at the end of this row. So you're getting close to the end of the row. So I'm just now here at the base here where these are put together. These are put together. Chain up 1 and you start working up and you're going in the up motion. So just skip 1 chain and single crochet in the next one after that, and then chain 1, skip the next chain, single crochet in the one after that, chain 1, and then finally skip 1 and go into the final with 2 single crochets into that one. So that's how you're gonna finish this one. And this was row number 2. This is the only time you're really gonna do it like this, because now we have the established gapping spaces that you can clearly see here. So we're gonna be playing within these spaces now going forward, because row number 3 is just gonna be repeat of row number 3 over and over again. So let's turn and work and begin row number 3. So let's turn and work and do row number 3. So this is how it's gonna be for now on until you're finished. And if you're using Bernat Blanket Stripes, the colors will have changed on you probably by now as well. So we're going to begin to chain 1, and then in the very first stitch right underneath the first one here, you're going to put in 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. So now we're gonna look for these chain 1 spaces that you can see. If you gotta just split it with your fingers, just do so. It just is a lot easier. You can see the 2 that are put together here at the base. So we're going to begin, so you just put in 2 single crochets, chain 1 before you start, and then in the first chain 1 space, just pull it out, you can see it. It's single crochet, chain 1, and then jump over and look for the next chain 1 space and single crochet in that space and chain 1. So now we're going to put your stitches together that are in the base of the hill. So you have the 2 that are put together, so this is 1 stitch, and then you need to put 2 stitches together. So you need to put this gap space, the next gap space, and this 2 single crochet stitch together. Okay, so just go into the next chain 1 space, pull through, and then go into the top of the next stitch and pull through, and then pull through all 3. So on this side of the hill, what happens is that you have the stitch that's the 2 together, and you have the next gapping space. Those 2 are gonna go together. So just go into the next stitch, pull through, the next chain 1 space, pull through, and then pull through all 3. So then continuing back up the hill, chain up 1 and look for the next chain 1 space, and chain 1 and look for the next chain 1 space, and then chain 1, and then here is the group of, there's 2 stitches in each of these in order for it to be at the top of the hill. So skip the next one and single crochet twice into the second one. This is the first half of the peak, and then just in the next stitch available to you, just put in 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. So let's go in the down motion. I'm gonna show you this once again so you can kind of see it's coming together. So in the next one we're gonna chain up 1 and then go into the next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space, single crochet, and then chain 1, and then the next chain 1 space and the 2 together stitch is gonna come together. So just going in, pull through in the space, into the stitch, pull through, and then you got your 3 loops, pull through all 3. So you got to go up on the other side. So go into the stitch first, then into the next chain 1 space, and put those 2 together, and then start chaining 1. So chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space, and then chain 1, and now you're at the top of the hill. So skip the next one, go to the second one over, put in 2 single crochets, and then go into the next one right after it and put in 2 single crochets so you're at the top of your hill, and then go down again just like I just showed you. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll meet you close to the end of this and I'll show you how to just finish the row off once you get there. So to finish off your row, I just did my 2 togethers right at the base. You chain 1 and then you just look for the next chain 1 space as you're going up, and then chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space, and chain 1, and then finally you're at the very end. So you skip 1 and go into the last stitch of your row, and you're gonna put in 2 single crochets into that same one. So the row I just did is a repeat of what you already know. So now it's just a matter of repeating what you already know. So let's just quickly get you started. This is a repeat of row number 3 again. So chain up 1 to begin, 2 single crochets into the first stitch, and then chain 1. So just pull, you can see it, here's the chain 1 space, so just go in there, single crochet, chain 1, go into the next space, single crochet and chain 1, and then here at the base the next chain 1 space and the next stitch are coming together, and then the next time is the stitch first and then the next chain 1 space coming together, and then chain 1 and work your way up the hill. So just single crochet in the space, chain 1, single crochet in the next space, chain 1, and then you're at the top of the hill. So skip the next one, 2 single crochets into the second one after that, and then 2 single crochets into the one to the next one, and then work your way down the hill again. So single crochet, look for the chain 1 space, single crochet, look for the chain 1 space, chain 1, and then again you're at the base now. So start with the gap space first, the chain 1 space, and then into the stitch, put those together, and then into the stitch and then to the space, and put those together and work your way back up the hill. So that's how you do this, and it's really quite neat. As soon as you get your transitioning colors, you can do this with the Caron cakes as well as any colors really. You just have to change the hook to match the yarn, and it is really quite neat. So this is how you do this particular afghan. I hope that you enjoy, and until next time, have a great day. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.